We are going to be taking a look at springfieldlaserlikelipo.com, and we're going to be going over the basics of how to operate this website. What you need to do to log in is go to springfieldlaserlikelipo.com/wp-admin, and you'll have a username and password with which you can log into the website. We come on here, and this main area here is called the dashboard. And the dashboard is relatively useless. You don't need to do anything with it, but you do need to pay attention to the menu over here on the left. Through all these things here in a very brief way first, where we cover the very basics of what each one of these items does, and then we're going to go back through and one by one go into details about how to use each one, and hopefully you will leave this video training session with a good idea of how to operate the website. We have the updates here, and you don't need to ever deal with these updates if you don't want to. We will come in every couple of weeks and update all of your plugins and your themes to be sure that they're all running properly. If for some reason you ever want to, you can, and most of the time it won't cause a problem. Every once in a while it will, so you might as well just leave it to us, but generally you just have something like this where it goes through, it updates, and we're good to go. We have post over here. And posts are used for things like blogs, and in our case we don't have a blog set up on the website, and so there's nothing in this category. When we go over pages in a bit, then most of the functionality that comes in post will also be the same for pages. So you can learn about pages, and then you'll essentially know how to use post if we ever implement a blog function on the website. We have media here, and as you would expect, then media has media within it, things like photos, bellies, and then you could add new media here, and that's an option, but most of the time you're going to be doing it within a page or within a slider or something of that nature, and you could add it here, but it's normally easier to do it through one of those. And so it's an okay place to go. Might be a good place to go look through everything that you have available, but most of the time you're not going to be going here. Now we have forms, and as the name implies, it is an area for forms, and this works for the 3 different forms we have on the website. They all do essentially the same thing on this site, but they are in different locations, and so they're arranged a little differently as far as which fields we have available within each form. We have pages down here, and pages controls all the pages on the website except for the home page. And so then everything else will be edited through here. The home page is done differently, and we'll go over that in a moment. We don't have comments set up on the website right now, I don't believe, and so we won't go over that much. This section called Genesis are some overall settings for the website, and it's the framework on which the website is built. It's like a really generic theme that gives it a good structure so that it's secure and will run smoothly. You shouldn't really ever need to make any changes in here. We have, under Appearance, we have several different options. The ones that matter for you are widgets and menus. The rest of these you don't really ever need to deal with, but widgets and menus will matter. Widgets control the home page and also the sidebar within the other pages of the website, and menus, as the name implies, controls the menus. Plugins are little pieces of software that give additional functionality to the website. You can add one of the tens of thousands of plugins that are out there to your website, and you can hope that it works well, and that's fine if you want to do that, and you can experiment. Some of them work really well, some of them won't work so well. So generally we advise that you come to us and check with us before you install a new plugin, and we can help make sure that you choose the right ones that will work the very best for what you're trying to accomplish. Under users, then this is an area for adding and deleting and editing users. And this would be done for people who have administrative access to your website, or potentially at some point in the future you could do it just for an author or an editor or something of that nature. Tools don't have anything useful within them for you. Settings, most of these settings aren't terribly important. We might cover a couple of these, but these are some general settings that you could look through at some point if you want to, but would not be essential in any way. Soliloquy is a slideshow system that we don't use. We'll delete that here in a moment. Slider Revolution is the slideshow used for the home page. It controls the slideshow. And so we will be going over this in detail so we can be sure that you know fully how this functions. WP Google Map is a Maps plugin that makes it so that you can have your map appear on different places on the website. We'll go over that, of course. Results. This is for your before and after images and descriptions that we have. You go through here, you fill this out, they'll show up on that page with before and after results. Again, we'll go over this in more detail here in a moment. Pods admin, then it controls the results page here, but you should not really be needing to make changes to this part itself. So you can just stick to the results section and that should work well for you. Now, we're going to go back through, and without flying through it at such a high rate, we're going to look at each one of these items. First, we're going to take a look at forms. We have these forms that show up on the website, and they are relatively simple to control. We're opening this one up over here. On this form here, then we ask for the first and last name, phone number, email, and what you would like to know more about. It's very simple. If you want to add more options of what someone can be answering, you can click over here and drag it over, and then it will show up in that section. Let's say you wanted to know how someone heard about you. How did you hear about us? And then you have down here, online, KY3, other, and then you have this option there. And if we were to click Update Form, it would now show up live on the website. We don't want to do that, so we're going to delete that question. Within these forms, then you also have settings up here. For our main form settings, then we have a form title. This doesn't necessarily show up on the website, but it's just something for you to be able to keep track of it with. We have the button at the bottom, so you could just click Submit at the bottom, or in this case we have it set up to be Send a Message. Generally, it's better to have something to click on other than submit. It has a little bit of a negative connotation to it. People will take more action if you have something that's a little bit more lively as your button option. We always want to have Enable Anti-Spam Honeypot down here. It makes it so that it is less likely that you will get spam entries for your forms. Confirmations, well, this is just when someone submits it, then we want to have some sort of text show up that acknowledges that it has been submitted and received. Here is thanks for contacting us. We will get in touch with you shortly. We could make this something more detailed. Go ahead and move that up there a little bit so that it's at least at the top. You can make it more detailed if you want to, add images, add a slider, whatever you want to do, as crazy as you want to make it is fine. This is what they will see after they have submitted their contact information. Now, notifications are going to you to alert you to new submissions to the website. Anytime that someone has filled out a form, we want it to be sent to your email address, and this is the one that we have from you here. We can change that to anything we want it to be. The from email we have is from the user email. Within the email itself, then we have all fields, because we want it to be that all the information is sent to you. Now, at any time, you can come back into the website and look at the entries here. So you don't have to only look at these through your emails. They will always be on here as well. And we see some fake ones that have been filled out here, it appears. And you can go in any time, though, and click View and see what it is that this person is wanting. And nothing much there right now. We could move it to the trash if we want to, or we can just keep those there, and there's no problem with doing that either. If you ever want to create a new form, then you click down on this other part, you fill out the form title, and then you click Create New Form. You don't have to do the description necessarily. You can drag these elements out there, and then they will appear, edit them, make them work as you want them to work. Most of these are fairly self-explanatory. If you ever have questions on what a certain function does or how to accomplish what you're wanting to accomplish, let us know and we will be happy to help you out. And when we move on to pages here in a moment, then I will show you how to implement these forms so that then they can actually be of use to you. Right now, then they are just forms that have been created. We need to make sure they are live somewhere on the website. Let's take a look at pages so we can know how to do that, and so we can know how to use pages in general. I'm going to click on all pages here, and these are the pages that appear on the website. You'll recognize the names of these pages. We're going to go to the Laser-like Technology page here. And we see that things are set up here in a way that is roughly like what you would see on the website. Now there's quite a bit of styling that has not been applied yet. Let's click Preview Changes. You can do that at any time to see what it looks like at that. This is what the page itself looks like. We have this sidebar that automatically has been loaded up here. The header, the title, has been automatically formatted so that it matches all the other pages, and we have some other styling that has been applied throughout this. We come back over here and we can see that's roughly what we have going on. Well, this is heading 4 here that makes it looking this style of text. That's how you would accomplish it. You can make these things bold or different colors just as you would with any other word processing system that you might be using. And so we could click bold or italic. We can make the color be bright orange. We can make it so that it's underlined. All these typical things that you'd be doing with word processing we can do. Now none of this is live right now. We haven't clicked update. If we were to click update, it would become live. Going to click preview changes, and we see it's on the page as we told it to be there. And we can decide, is this really how we want it to add another image on this page? And we thought, well, one image is not enough. We need something more to really spice up this page. So then we're going to take a picture of this person's chin here. And we're going to say, you know, maybe that large size is a bit too large. Let's go with a medium one with an alignment to the left. I'm going to click preview, see if it's what we want. If it's what we want, we say yes, that's great. And if it's not, then you could hit Control Z if you're using a PC, or Mac Z, Command Z if you're using a Macintosh product, and then it will undo what you've done there. In our case, then that's about what we want, because we don't have any particular real desires. If you want this to be to the left, that's fine. You can always go back and change it to the center. We'll do that for right now. If we click edit, then the changes we're making right here are only changing what's going on for this particular page, for the image on this particular page. We can make this a custom size. If we say 300 is not exactly what we want it to be 250. You can just experiment with those numbers. You don't even need to know what they mean. You can just experiment until it looks right. We can put a caption under this. This is an amazing photo. And we could make it so that it links to something else. And so we might say we want to link to google.com. Click update now. And if we were to hover over this, you can see how now we could click and we would go to google.com just like we told it to. And it's looking like what we told it to look like. Now that might not be what you want precisely. You keep experimenting until you notice these buttons down here. And the way we accomplish that is with making these into heading 5. You see this little section up here? Then we have these different headings. You make it into heading 5, and then you apply a link to it. So if you want to link something, well, I know the best way we can do this. Let's just make a new line of these here, okay? And we're going to say we want to have a new special technology here called Wowie Tech. And we're going to say you can learn more about this at the proven results page. And we will click add link, where you could have just entered that in by typing it in up there. That's fine too. Now we've got that added in there. Right now though, it's only paragraph. You see up here how it says just paragraph when we select it? Well, we want it to be H5 so it can look like a button. When we do that, now when we click preview changes, it says Wowie Tech. And it works just like the other ones. It'll respond just like the other ones as you get bigger and smaller on the page. Everything works just as we want it to be working. When you want to make they will go live to the whole world. If you decide that you don't want to make any of these changes, which is what we're wanting to do right now, then you would just leave by going on to whatever your next step is. You could click back on all pages and then you would be gone. Let's say sometime you want it to be that you have a, let's say you want it to be that you want to have a slideshow here at the top. You could always click add slideshow, and then you would insert your slider right there. That's Soliloquy. I guess that's not what we're using right now. You could take it from over here, from Revolution slider, and you could add the selected slider to this page. Bring it here. It doesn't really quite fit. We haven't given it enough room. Now, something else you might want to know how to do is to add a form on the page. We come here, we select the form we want. Let's do contact us home description, but we do want to enable Ajax. It makes it load more smoothly on the page. And then we have that form right there on the page as we want it to be. And it looks nice. Of course, it's in completely the wrong place, but it looks nice as far as the formatting on the form itself. If you want to add in anything else, you can do that. You can normally just find your way around here fairly easily on your own. See if we have any other parts of the page that are of interest for us. Well, the parent page doesn't matter much for what we're doing. If you want to set a featured image, you that does now, so you don't really need to, but you could if you felt like it was desirable. Those SEO settings are not terribly important right now. We have these layouts. We have it set as a default layout with having the sidebar over on the right side, but if you wanted to, you could set it up differently so that it was a page with no sidebar at all. Or you could do it where we have additional sidebars, but we don't have an additional sidebar set up right now. You could put the sidebar on the left instead if you wanted that instead. Now, down here we have Revolution slider options, which shouldn't be very important for what you're doing, and the scripts aren't important either. It should cover how to make changes to a page. If you want to add a new page, you go up here to New and click Page, or you can click Add New over here, either one. We're not going to save these changes, so we're going to leave this page. Nothing became live on the website, so no worries there. If you're starting up a new page, just enter the title of the page up here. You add in whatever content it is you want to be appearing on that page on the website, and then you would have all that you needed. If you want to be done with the page completely, which we do in this case, then you can click Move to Trash, and then you will leave the page and it has been deleted and you are back to the way you were originally. We also don't need sample page, so we're going to delete that while we're in here. We have comments here, not something we're using right now, so we don't need to be concerned. Genesis, and again, these are not changes that you really need to be working on necessarily. You can explore this. It's your website. If you ever make a mistake, we'll have backups of the website, so we should probably be okay if you ever do anything that would cause any issues like that, but no particular need to be looking at those right now. Under Appearance, we don't need to worry about themes or customize. We want to take a look at widgets. Widgets control the home page and the primary sidebar. So for the home page, let's go there on our site. You can see that we have our header up here. We have a slideshow. We have a few places to give some basic information, the benefits of laser-like lipo, and a contact area, and another menu down here. If we come over here, we can see how all those parts are changed. The image here is the logo for the website, Springfield Laser. Beneath that, then we have this section here that says phone consultations available. 96175. You can change out that number, change the exact wording there. Now if you get too long of a wording, it could eventually cause some sort of problem. It might not all fit in that space, and that could cause some layout issues. You have a menu here, and the menu is the nav menu, which is the basic menu you have here. And you can make changes to that menu in a different place, and we'll look at that here in a moment. But to make it appear in that spot, we have this menu widget. We have this image of Facebook, and that shows up over that. It's just a simple image, and we've got the size set there, and then we have the link to go to the Springfield Laser-like Lipo Facebook page. Everything is set up okay, so we leave all that as it is right now. I'm going to skip primary sidebar for now. We'll come back to that in a moment. We also don't use secondary sidebar at all. We have, in this text here, we have Revolution Slider. And I believe we're going to actually change that out here real quick to being this widget. That should be it. Let's make sure everything's still working okay. Yeah, everything's still good. Wonderful. So we want it that way instead. It's a little easier to control like that. We have our slider chosen. Shouldn't need to make changes to that ever really. That's our home top section. And then at the bottom, which is aptly called home-bottom, then we have pain-free weight loss, and we have this here, and it doesn't really look like much of anything. That's because it's the embedded YouTube video. See how these are all videos here? Well, the way you go get a video to embed from YouTube is just like this. It's very simple. It's not really a part of our training here, but we'll go and show it anyway, just to make sure that you all know how to do this. So we right-click on any YouTube video, and then we click Copy Embed Code. We come back to this page here, and if you click on Text, then you see how this says iframe there and iframe there. If we want to replace it, we would select that and delete it. Let's see what our sizes were there again. See how the width here shows 100% and the height is 270? We want to do the same thing on this one here. And so we'd say 100%, and then we'd make that 270 instead of 720. And now that new video would appear there on the home page. Now I don't actually want Elon Musk to be on the home page, so I'm not going to click Save. But that's what we would do if we wanted that to be saved. Now the text you can change very simply. You just type in whatever you want here, and you will be fine. And there's nothing about the way this is you want, and it shouldn't mess up the other widgets around it in any way. Each one of these is a different one of those widgets. They all look the same and function the same. Don't have anything in subfooter left, don't have anything in subfooter right. In the main footer area here, the first footer, then we have benefits of laser-like lipo. This is just functioning as a little title right here. And then here we have the different benefits listed beneath it. So we have reduced fat, reduce stretch marks, skin shrinkage, words that are in those places, you should be fine. If they were very long, maybe that would be a problem, but I don't think so. I think you can pretty much do whatever you want within those and you should be okay. Then we come down here, and you can see that underneath the benefits of laser-like lipo, we have this contact area with the map. Interested in laser-like lipo? Let's talk. That's like a title again, just like before. We have this little shortcode here. We'll show you how to get that in a moment, but it says put underscore WPGM, so that's WP Google Map, and it's just making it so that then we have this map here like this. You have a little tiny bit of code that is short, and you paste it in, and then it does something much bigger than what that text is. Then we have the address down here beneath, 2101 West Chesterfield Boulevard. If you ever need to make changes to that, you can make changes quite easily. Then we have a form. The form is showing up on the right side over here, and we have it set to contact us-home. You could change it to another form if you wanted to. You also will notice down here that we have this hide widget on selected aspect chosen on this, and then it says /contact us, /contact-us, and we don't need this to show up on that page because you don't need a contact form on the contact page because there's already a contact form on the contact page. That's probably a bit more wordy than it needed to be. We have the custom menu down here, and that's the same nav menu as before. And we have it down here at the bottom. We don't have anything else for footer 4 or for after entry. Let's go back to primary sidebar real quick. You can add as much as you want in this side pages, then you will see up at the top with social media icons, and we have that right here. Social media feather, sharing, spread the word. You have some options of what you want to do here. You can change the size or the skin a little bit. And we have this here, an image of Lisa. Lisa is wanting to help you lose those stubborn inches, and we have it set up so that it will only show on the contact page for that one. Still the same area over here on the right, but we have it so that it will show up with her image right there. And then we have this how can you help you, and it shows up on every page except for that one. And so we have hide on selected, contact us, and that's why you don't see the form. There we go. That's the primary sidebar. You can add as many other widgets into those areas as you want. On the left side, you just click on them and drag them where you want them to be. Now on the home page, you don't want to deal with, you don't want to make too radical changes in that area. It might not line up correctly. But in the primary sidebar, you can add and take away as you please, and it should work basically okay. That's how you control the home page. That's how you control the widgets for the sidebar. And it's not terribly difficult, but maybe could get a little confusing at times. If you ever do have questions, feel free to contact us and we'll be happy to help, of course. Now we're going to move over to menus. Within menus, then we have our menu items, as you would expect. And we have these main things here: laser-like lipo, proven results, other services, special offers, FAQs, contact us, and we love referrals. We heart referrals. Now, if you want to add more menu items, you can. They might not fit in the space we have allotted for them right now. Works fine at that size. As you start to get a little smaller, it might get a little cramped, like this. And so if you want to add more items than what you have up there and you run into trouble where it's not aligning properly, let us know and we will be happy to get that fixed so we can fit everything in there. There are limits, of course, ultimately, but we can make changes to fit quite a bit more in there still. And you also see down here with this We Heart Referrals, it's got this funny stuff going on here. It's a little complicated to explain exactly how to get the right information for that. Basically, it makes it so that a little image will appear. And so we have, rather than having the word love or heart, then we have an actual heart. And if you ever want to make any changes to this, once you've made them, you have to click Save Menu before they become live. And once you do, then they will be live and it will be out there on every page on the website, both at the top and at the bottom, because right now they're both set to that menu. Then we come down to plugins, and we spoke of that before. You don't really need to do much in the way of adding new plugins. It adds additional functionality to the website. If there's something you're thinking you want to have added, check with us. We can at least guide you in the right direction. And depending on the amount of time necessary, that might be something that is even included what we're already offering for you. Under users, you can always add in a new username. and we won't do that right at the moment to the point of completion, but we'll show you how to do it anyway. And so we have a username, and it could be Springfield Laser-like admin, and then we need an email associated with it, and you can put in a name, but you don't necessarily have to. For the password here, then you click show password, and then you'll have that password there, and you can copy it, and that will be your new password. Now ideally you will use the password that is here if you ever set up one of these accounts. What you don't want to do is set up a very easy password like password 123. See, it says very weak. That's because it is very weak, and it's a serious security risk, and you're putting your website at risk if you ever use a password like that. And you have to click confirm use of weak password to even be able to do it. And if it ever says you have to confirm use of weak password, well, please don't. It's not good for your website, not good for your business. It's better to use a password that is difficult. Even if it's hard for you to remember, you're not going to remember that password. Keep it somewhere safe though, and then that way it's always going to make your website secure. And then we would click add new user, and that user would be added. If you ever want to delete a user, then you hover over that. Well, I can't delete myself right now because I'm the only user, so I can't delete myself. Normally you would hover over this and it would have delete, and then you could get rid of that user as well. There are several different kinds of users you can create, but for our purposes you'll probably always be doing the administrator. That gives full control over the website. These other ones have varying levels of control, but for the most part, administrator should be good for what you're doing. Under tools, then we don't really have any tools. For settings, and then we're going to go over here to general, and you can see that right now we have our site title of Springfield Laser like Lipo. If you want to add a tagline, you can put a few little words about your business, and that would be fine. Right now we have the site email address set to my address, and that would just be for like technical notifications and things of that sort. So you could change it to yours, but probably you'll want to just keep it at mine. These other things down here shouldn't matter much. On social media, this goes with that looking at before with the where it goes up on the sidebar. The social media changes here to the size a little bit, to the icon spacing. You can look through this on your own. For the most part, it should work just fine as it is right now. Yeah, it should work fine the way that it is right now. Feel free to come in and make any changes if you think you need to. We don't need to look at widget context. Soliloquy is not a slideshow we're using now, but we do want to take a look at slider revolution. This is controlling the slideshow on the home page, and we're going to go to this laser-like lipo one right here, edit, and we can go through here. Let's make this a little bigger. We can go through here and we can see how these are set up. If you want to change the background image of a slide that already exists, you can click change image right here, and you can choose whatever image you want. Now it needs to be a pretty good size image or it's not going to look terribly good. And there's no exact number that we're going to need to be having for this. It will stretch out to whatever size is needed to fill up the whole thing. But you're going to want it to be 1,000 wide at least, and 500 high. Something like that would be about your minimum you really want to be dealing with here. And if you ever have questions about that, let us know and we can help you out with that some. Down here, if you need to make changes to the words that are already in there, you can click this little edit button, or you can just double click. You can change out the words. You could say regain your hope instead. We're not going to do that though. You can see down here, it's a little timeline of the animation that's happening here. And so things fade in, they fade out. And you can play with that as much as you want. Zeros that we have it set to. You can play with these different animations that are available and the way they leave. You can also play with. Feel free to, you notice each one of these slides, they have the same basic setup, right? And so we have a different image, but then we're having a different set of text on there. So if you want to add something new, probably the easiest thing to do is to just click duplicate. I'm going to set this one to not be live by clicking that little red button. I'm going to go onto this page here. And so then we have it duplicated. Let's add in our new image. I don't have any good image set up right off. Let's just pick one of these randomly. It really doesn't matter. Something a little bit more. One here, okay? And then you can bring headphones. And we click the little green checkbox. Then we'll preview this. Now remember, this is not live. I already checked that little red box to make sure it was not. And then it says wearing headphones. Looks just like the other ones, right? and that's very done without much difficulty. If you wanted to create something new and incredible, that might be more difficult, and so it'd be good to check with us and we can help you out. That one looks like it doesn't need to exist anymore. There we go. Everything's set up on this. And you can make bigger changes to the slideshows as well that affect not just a single slide, but the slideshow as a whole. Here under the slider settings, you don't need to look at any of these things necessarily or make any changes, but you could. You can change how the navigation works. You could say, I don't want any more arrows. I want it just to scroll through on its own. Disappear. We have a little, you don't need to work to smart so that it only loads just enough of the images beforehand. That way it will make everything load faster. Down here we have a few changes on the different sizes of the slideshow, but for the most part you're not really going to want to get into these things. The editor itself you're going to want to be working with, making changes, changing out the background image, changing out the text. As you make changes, you can see if they look right on the website. If they look good, then that's wonderful. If they're not quite what you wanted, then just keep working at it or give us a call and we can help you out as well. We have WP Google Map here. And with Google Map, then what we're doing is setting up a map of your location. It shows up at the bottom of, and it also shows up under Contact Us on this page here. So we end up having a couple of different maps. Well, I guess we only have one. I thought we had two set up on this one. My mistake. So we have this one map here, and it's set up with the location. So if you're ever wanting to add something different for a place besides your main location there, the first thing you would do is click Add Location, and then you type in the address. It fills all this other information in for you, which is wonderful. You can make it so that it has a marker animation. We don't have any categories set up in this case. You click Save. We got our new one just made there. If you want to, that's just a location. If you want to add a new map, you can come in here and type in new map. Say how wide you want it to be. We're going to leave it blank so it'll fill up the whole width of the screen no matter what. And then we can say we want it to be 300 pixels. If you don't know what the pixels are, it's not a big deal. Make up a number, see if it looks right. If it's too big, then make it smaller. If it's too small, then make it big. I don't know exactly where these different zoom levels take us to, but we'll just choose one that seems about right. You can make it a road map, satellite, hybrid, terrain. You can disable and enable different sorts of features that are part of Google Map to begin with. Not features that we've given to it, but just things that Google naturally includes. We're going to have both of those on there. You can turn on and off these different controls, all different settings. You can play with those and see how you want them to look. Come in here to Manage Maps so we can see that this is already set up in all the ways that we need it to be. If there's a reason that you think you might need to make a change, of course it could just be with making a change of the address, and that's simple enough to do. If you need to make a bigger change with the way that the map appears, then you can look through here, make any changes that seem to do what you're wanting it to do. When you're done, click Save Map. That's really all that you need to do for maps. If you want to implement these though, that's the other thing we need to do. And you come in here and you see this little shortcode right there? Well, you just select that and you copy it. Well, you can right click it and copy it if that makes you feel more comfortable too. And then you go into the place where you want it to appear, like let's say a new page. And we say map, and then we paste this in here. And we click preview, and if this page were live, it would look just like this. And it would say map, and there would be a map right underneath it. But we don't actually want a new page like that, so we're going to move it to the trash for now. If we come down here to results, click on this. These are the before and after results that come from your clients. So you start off with a name, and the name is the name of the person that we are speaking of. So in this case, we'll call this person Ralph, and you don't need to do anything with a slug, just leave it as it is. And Ralph had an amazing experience with losing weight. Whatever else you want to type in there is fine, as long or as short as you want it to be. Client, same as the name up above. Click, put Ralph in there again. You add in the image of the before. I'm just picking random photos here, okay? Do the after. You just do what it says. We won't do all these. Ralph had a big change. And then down here we have our numbers, our measurements. So we have 38, 24. I have no idea what measurements you're supposed to have in these different areas. Type in whatever it is. Testimonial area. Especially needs to be in the testimonial area, but it makes sense to have it in the other as well. If you want it to be live, then you click Add New Proven Results. And then if we were to do that, then on the Proven Results page, it would appear automatically. And the way we have this recent, if you don't want some of these anymore, then you can feel free to go in and delete some of them. And then they will no longer be on there. Does that make sense? I think it seems like it should be simple enough. We don't want to keep any of these things on here right now. We're not going to keep Ralph. We're not going to make any changes to who is on there and not on there at this moment. But that's how you control the before and after images. Once you get some good ones in there, then that should be a useful part of your website. Those are the basics of how to use the Springfield Laser-like Lipo website. If you have questions, please call, text, email, send smoke signals, whatever you need to do. We're happy to help out with any problems that you might have. We're there to be able to walk you through anything, and when you contact us, I'm sure we can come to a solution that will work well for you. Thanks a lot for watching our training video, and if you have any more questions, let us know.